Speak on matters before us, so I'm going to call on them. First, Bill Geiger on P1 and 3, and then Stu Updike, who doesn't say why he's speaking. Okay, same thing. Okay.
Thank you, Alderman Rainey, and thank you for this opportunity. I just want to thank you for taking this opportunity to consider the honorary street naming after the Emerson Street Branch YMCA, which had a huge impact on this community. I think this is an opportunity to recognize in a very small way that legacy of service to the community that inspires many, many generations, has inspired many generations, and continues to inspire us, that aspiration to be the welcoming, inclusive place where everyone in Evanston can be welcomed and engaged. So I thank you for that consideration. I also want to speak on behalf of the naming of that short strip of Maple Street after Jay Rogasich. Again, thank you for considering this honor. I certainly support it and appreciate your attention to this matter, both matters.
Thank you. Mr. Updike.
Thank you very much. I, too, would like to lend my support to, I believe it was Mr. Fainer's original proposition to rename that stretch of Maple between Grove Street and Davis Street after Jay's barbershop. He was there for quite a few decades. I don't have a lot to show for it, frankly. Neither does Bill, for that matter, but he was barber to many, many hundreds of boys and men in this community. He was a very engaging, wonderful man, and I know you would make his family and his many friends very happy were you to consider renaming that stretch of Maple in his honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have another speaker? Okay. Alderman Braithwaite? You didn't sign up.
Madam Chair, I didn't sign up. Is it all right? I run over and put my name on it, Madam Chair, and also to the council members. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Just to speak briefly on behalf of the Emerson Street Y, at the request of Bob Reese and myself. This building closed in 1969, and I wasn't even born. And I just want to share with Bill Geiger publicly, I had an opportunity to attend the program, Unforgettable, where there was a huge community effort put together in recapturing the history and telling that untold story for many, many residents in Evanston. And as someone who didn't benefit from the community of the Foster School, as someone, a resident town who didn't benefit from the community of the of the Emerson Street Y, it was just so telling to hear that story caught on video and to know that although I didn't attend it, that it's going to be named now and be there for my kids to see and for the rest of Evanston. It's truly a wonderful blessing. So to Bill Geiger, thank you so much for spearheading and being a part of that wonderful program that we were able to tell our story from a black perspective about that part of town, and to Bob Reese who stepped forward to make the request. Thank you both very much, and I'm confident that this will go through, and Evanston owes you a big thank you for your efforts. So thank you, and thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Back to the agenda. First item on our agenda is approval of the regular minutes of July 25, 2011. Any discussion or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we have Resolution 47R11, which designates the portion of Emerson Street between Maple and Oak Avenue with the honorary street name, sign Emerson Branch YMCA. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Okay. Discussion. Any discussion? This is recommended by the Public Place Names.
Absolutely. No discussion. I just want to comment. I was born, and I actually and I did attend the Emerson Street Y. So this is really just really absolutely fantastic. And thank you, Mr. Reese, for coming up with the idea to make it, and for you, Bill Geiger, for really helping to many of us who grew up using that Y to have such an unforgettable evening with your unforgettable program. Thank you.
Great. All right. All those in favor of recommending this resolution to name the to name the street the honorary name of Emerson Branch YMCA, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, it's going to happen. Next item is P2, which is Resolution 48R11, which designates the portion of Chicago Avenue between Greenleaf and Lee Street with the honorary street name sign Joseph Levy Jr. Way. Could I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Any discussion? Anybody here who wants to speak to this? All right, well, we all know Joe, and he certainly deserves a street named after him. So, all those in favor of renaming or naming the street with an honorary Joseph Levy Jr. Way name, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And for those who don't know, this is the same Joe Levy as the Levy Center, Joe Levy, and his wonderful family. Next, P3, Resolution 49R11, designating the portion of Maple Avenue between Davis Street and Grove Street with the honorary street name sign Joseph Rogish Way. Is that how you say it?
Move approval.
All right, we just heard from Stu Updike why this is being presented. Could you pronounce his name for me?
Rogosich?
Rogish.
But he was known as Jay.
Jay, okay.
So is that going to be the name of the street?
Yes, Jay. It is Jay. I'm
Very
sorry.
good, thanks.
All right. Any discussion? Any more discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving along. Next is Resolution 46R11, approval of plat of consolidation for 729 Sheridan Road. This combines two lots, one with a single-family home on it and the lot to the north, which is vacant. This is brought to us by John Cara and Joan Cherry, property owners.
Second.
Any discussion on this? Hearing none. All those in favor of recommending to the council, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Next is Ordinance 67011, which amends portions of the zoning ordinance relating to the creation of domestic animal daycare centers and kennel uses. This is not recognized in our current zoning ordinance, and it is for introduction today. Can I have a motion to recommend introduction?
Recommend approval.
Okay. Any discussion? Alderman Fisk.
Yeah, if I could ask legal staff, where is the determination of how many, or have we made any, of how many square feet per animal is a minimum in these proposed establishments?
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Grant Frye, Corporation Counsel, I have to defer to zoning staff relative to that issue.
Good evening, Dominic Argamello, zoning planner. We have not made a determination of the square footage per animal, but as we were looking to make all uses special uses, they would provide some kind of oversight if it came to City Council. And if an application got to City Council, one could then condition the limited number of animals that the City Council feels appropriate. Also with the licensing, state licensing, and our health department, I believe that type of issue would be covered.
Okay. I'd like a little bit more information about what the state requirements are, just so that we don't encourage people to come to a small storefront and want to put 20 dogs in a small storefront. I think there needs to be at least some minimum standard for the housing of animals. Also, a consideration whether or not we want to have a designated outdoor area for the dogs, so some dogs aren't just being walked on the public street, but have an outdoor play area as well. So those are just some questions that I would have for the future.
Yeah, I don't see how we could treat them differently. I mean, it seems to me that we need a standard.
Right.
if there's going to be, if there's going to be one, there needs to be a standard for how many dogs you can have in a certain area.
Right.
I mean, I can just see the first one coming if we don't have any rules of the road.
Right.
We will get that information.
Yeah, all right. So this is just for introduction. Let's get it
Introduction,
moving.
right.
Yeah. How are we saying there are no kennels in Evanston?
There are daycares in Evanston. There are 2 daycares in Evanston
Yeah.
that I'm aware of.
So how do we govern them now?
Previously, those had been approved as retail services.
Because I know we've approved them.
Right, as retail services. Staff was getting a lot of phone calls interested in doggy daycare. Unfortunately, we didn't want to categorize them all as retail services because those are permitted by right uses in business and commercial areas, back up to residential areas, and we could see a lot of problems coming with the future of that.
I think one of the things that I would love to see with our zoning ordinance is a more elaborate explanation of retail services. Retail services covers everything. If you don't know where to put it, it's a retail service. If money changes hands, it's a retail service. So that would be great. Alderman Holmes.
So then I'm assuming that the ones that are here now, the 2, I know one is in my ward, will be grandfathered in? Is that
That is correct.
Okay.
They will be legal non-conforming, correct?
Will they be legal non-conforming with an expiration date of that, and then they come completely under this ordinance? Because we have some real problems with those legal non-conforming when we,
Well, presently for legal non-conforming, as long as it is in continual use with its same intensity and in the same structure, it continues. And that's the legal aspect of it. If it were to become vacant for a certain number of time, I believe it's 120 days, it would lose that legal non-conforming status. But if it does not expand, it remains legal.
I know I've heard that explanation before, and maybe legal can help with this, but I worked in a North Shore community where they established a brand-new sign ordinance, where, of course, there were all sorts of signs that were currently non-conforming with the new ordinance. And they gave all of those owners of those signs a certain period of time to comply with the new ordinance. So I want to know why we can't do that here.
Let me look into that, Aldermen and members of the committee, and that's something that I think in terms of Title VI amendments and streamlining and enhancements, that you raise a very good point. I will get our legal department working on that issue, fully vet it.
I'll tell you where this was, but I'm sure it's not the only place. And I'm not mentioning this because I want all the doggy daycare to come into compliance, but just in general.
Very well, we will do so.
All right, so all those in favor of recommending this for introduction with information coming to us for our next meeting?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next is Ordinance 66011, and that grants major variations necessary for the construction of a cultural facility at 1026 Davis Street in the D2 Downtown Retail Core District. This has to do with DS Productions Holding Company proposing to construct a 45-foot high, 520 seat cultural facility at 1026 Davis.
Move approval?
Second.
Yes?
Madam Chair, Greg Rains for the record from DLA Piper.
You didn't sign up, Greg.
I'm sorry.
Sit. Just joking.
We have a short presentation if the committee wants to hear it. If not, I have 2 minor housekeeping items, but we don't have to give our presentation. I'll defer.
No, I think, let's have a little something.
Okay. All right. Again, for the record, Greg Rains from DLA Piper. I'm here on behalf of the applicant. I'm joined tonight by David Kolker, representative from the applicant, the project architects, Larry Kearns and Mark Weber of Wheeler Kearns Architects, and land planner George Kissel of Okren and Associates. We appreciate the opportunity to make a brief presentation this evening. As you're aware, on July 19th, the Zoning Board of Appeals recommended approval of the requested variations that are before you tonight. In addition, on July 13th, Spark recommended approval of the project. The project represents a unique opportunity to create a world-class, intimate concert theater with live music performance in downtown Evanston. In order to construct the project, the following minimal relief is needed. An increase in the maximum building height from 42 feet to 45 feet for a portion of the site. This additional 3 feet of height is necessary to optimize the acoustical elements of the theater and to provide a state-of-the-art listening experience. This height does not represent an increase in floor area, which is actually less than half of what is otherwise permitted, and does not increase the intensity of use of the project either. In fact, I just want to note that the building immediately to the south of the project is an 8-story building. The second item of relief is for a 0-foot rear yard setback for a portion of the site. As with height, this relief is also needed to, among other things, optimize the acoustics and provide a state-of-the-art listening experience. Again, not needed to increase the floor area. Again, the 8-story building to the south is set back about approximately 10 feet from the project site. And then finally, we're looking for relief for no loading dock. There actually will be a loading dock on the site. The loading dock currently is located in an existing access easement, and the under zoning ordinance can't count that as an acceptable loading dock. So when the applicant acquires the property, the entity will actually have both the 1026 property and the 1020-30 Davis Street property under common ownership. So that easement will go away, the loading dock will be there, and it's just it's a technical requirement, but the loading dock will be provided. At this point, I don't have anything additional to add. I'd like to ask our architects just to provide a very short presentation of the proposed project and the architecture.
My name is Larry Kearns. I'm a principal with Wheeler Kearns Architects in Chicago, and I'm joined by my colleague, Mark Weber. This is just a quick look at the project. This project is on Davis Street, on the corner of Davis and Oak. The two properties that comprise the project are shown here inside this dashed yellow line. It's important to note that the corner property here will remain unchanged in volume. It will remain the same one-story building it is. Most of you will know this interior parcel, 1026, as the current location of Tom Thumb. This is the portion of the project that will increase in height to accommodate the new program. This little inset here is a three-dimensional depiction of the massing of the proposed project. And what's germane to note on this is, again, you'll see the volume of the corner building unchanged. You will see that the new building, the tallest portion, is pulled away from Davis Street. And this is done intentionally so that the street wall along Davis, although it will increase in height some 8 feet above its current neighbor, it's meant to be congruently scaled with the street. And those portions of the project that are windowless are pushed away from Davis Street. This is both an aerial site plan and an aerial view depicting the buildings. Again, this is the current Tom Thumb location. This is the studio media corner building. This is that same area in drawing. Now we're showing the sort of dashed lines of the interior, which we'll show you next. This is the first floor plan of the proposed project. So this entire zone comprises the studio media building currently. There are two portions of the building that are going to be given to the larger adjacent property, and that's a portion in the front to enlarge the lobby, to allow a larger lobby, and then there's some green room space for the performers at the rear. The main performance hall, again, because it does not have windows, is pulled away from Davis Street. For the streetscape, there is a restaurant that comprises that nearly the entire storefront of of the project on Davis Street. The remaining portions of the building are largely support areas, both for the kitchen and restrooms and so on. But the main seating area is here with the stage being in the center. These are two upper level plans. On the left here is the actual floor plan of the upper level, which again is only germane for the 1026 parcel. This is the upper level balcony, which I'm just sort of outlining here now. It's wraps around, again, the bowl. There is, again, some service space that rounds out the remainder of that footprint. This is a depiction of the sort of technical level catwalk system and so on above, not public area. And the last slide we have just shows two sections. So if you were to saw the building in half, what is it to look like? And these depict the height, the 45-foot high roof in lieu of the 42. So you can see that volume that, again, acoustically we're after for that low frequency, particularly that clarity of the low frequency sound in the room. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we're very excited about this project, and we really expect it'll be a great boom for all of downtown Evanston, energizing Davis Street on both sides of the tracks and bringing, new shoppers and pedestrians and, visitors to the city. And on behalf of the applicant, we request that this committee adopt a favorable recommendation supporting the requested relief. I only have two minor housekeeping items that I just want to raise. I don't know if I spoke with the law department earlier today, and in the ordinance in section 4, it states that we're going to be leasing spaces from the city at the Sherman Avenue, the Sherman Plaza garage, and what we're looking for is just additional language in this section 4B to state that we are going to be leasing spaces in city's Sherman Plaza parking garage or such other location as is permitted pursuant to the zoning ordinance. Bottom line is that if we don't end up leasing, if we find spaces that are closer, not through the city, then we just want to have that flexibility. That's the first point. And then just the second point is that the project has a very short, time frame, and we're trying to move things quickly. So to the extent that there's an opportunity to waive the first reading tonight at the council level, we would respectfully request that that motion be made.
I think since the alderman of the ward is not with us tonight, that wouldn't be a good idea.
Right, I just thought he wasn't here yet, but
No,
your point is well taken.
I mean, I know he's not going to be here for this meeting. Do you think he's going to be here? My understanding he's not here. What? Yes.
Madam Chairman, no, he's not going to be here, but it was my understanding that he was supportive of not only this project, but having action taken tonight.
Oh, well, nobody told me that. That's excellent. Alderman Fisk?
Yes, I spoke with Alderman Wilson, and he specifically requested that we go ahead and suspend the rules and approve this evening.
Okay, excellent. Mr. Farrar, do you have any issue with adding that amendment to the? No? Okay.
Thank you.
I have a question. I've supported this project since the day I heard about it, and Mr. Coker has been fabulous in communicating with members of the council. But I have a question for our zoning department, and that is, why are we calling this a cultural facility? Is there not something else we can call it, like a music venue or something? And the reason I'm asking that is the whole issue of churches and cultural facilities. And I'm just having problems lately with all of these different uses being collected under these broad brush names. And I'm wondering, why is this being called a cultural facility, and what is the definition of a cultural facility?
Madam Chairman? I don't have an ordinance in front of me, but I mean, I was eminently involved with that. It's kind of like what you were saying about retail sales. we have a catch-all definition what a cultural facility is, as opposed to, I think it's an entertainment venue? Performance venue. And believe it or not, it all had to do with whether it had a fixed stage or not. And because this has a fixed stage, the zoning administrator made a determination that it was a cultural facility. I'm like you, it could be clearer to make a broader definition of these kind of music venues, but it is black and white. A cultural facility is defined in our zoning ordinance right now.
I guess that's the answer, but I still think, we spend all our time beating our chests, redefining downtown and planning, and yet some of the titles that we have for uses just are not reflective of the use or don't really describe the use. So that was...
But I think at least the one good thing is we had an avenue to take this to the council so that you can decide yes or no.
And I will decide yes. But I think we ought to start looking at these things. A problem. Alderman Fisk?
I agree with you. When I can think of a number of gymnasiums that have fixed stages, and where do they fall? And
so they're a cultural facility.
Yeah, Roysmore School is a good example of that. Maybe it will become a cultural facility. I do have a question for you, Greg. Can someone explain to me a little bit more how the zero rear yard setback works with the 1030 building? And you're going to hold title to both buildings, correct?
Right. So,
but you're not consolidating the parcel into one parcel.
But the property at 1026 Davis, that's the Tom Thumb property, and the property at 1030 Davis will have the same ownership entity. So the same entity will own both buildings.
Okay, it's going to be an LLC with both?
Correct.
Okay.
It's actually the applicant. I just have been using David Kolker instead of the official DS Productions, whatever LLC. But DS Productions, whatever LLC, will actually own title to both 1026 and 1030 Davis Street.
Okay. And again, can you just explain the zero rear yard setback and how that works with the loading dock? And I know we've done that at 1800 Sherman. Actually, we worked with the building next door.
So 1030 Davis Street currently has a loading dock to the rear and it's south, and it has a 15-foot setback, and that's where the loading occurs. Okay. And so since 1026 is built, 1026 doesn't have room for a loading dock currently, there's actually an easement from 1030 Davis Street for the benefit of 1026.
And that easement, if the partnership is dissolved and the owners go their separate ways, that easement will still be in place?
No, the easement actually is going to go away because both properties will be owned by the same entity, so there's no need for the easement anymore.
In the future, if each owner decided that this wasn't going to work and the performing arts venue remained there with a zero rear yard setback, would that easement remain? Does that run with the land?
There won't be an easement.
Oh, well, how would the people, if that goes away, then what would happen?
Own the whole place.
No, the agreement doesn't, because the easement benefits one property, so when both properties are owned by the same entity, the need for the easement's gone. So as a practical matter, both buildings, as you just saw, will be operated as one building. Even though they right now have two addresses, they will be operated and be connected and be one building. So I think it would be virtually, I won't never say impossible, but it would be highly unlikely that the ownership entities would split and one owner owns one building and one owner owns another building, because it's going to be operated as one single operation. As you saw, there's shared lobby space, there's a green room, so the concert theater space can't function without the space of 1030, because there would be no lobby, there'd be no green room.
Okay.
The artists would be on the street.
And the law department doesn't have a problem with that. That's
what we can do, Alderman Fisk, is the law department will follow up with Attorney Grains and make sure that issue is buttoned up, and we will get you some clarification on that.
okay.
All right, fine. All right, all those in favor of recommending this to the council tonight, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And that is with the amendment for the parking issue.
Right.
Okay? All right.
And do we vote on suspension of the rules?
No, not until the council.
Okay. I mean, do we vote to recommend suspension?
No, it doesn't matter whether we recommend it. The council has to approve it, so. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Next item is consideration of the appeal of the decision of the Sign Review and Appeal Board denying the wall sign variation requested by Office Depot. Could I have a motion to recommend one of these options to the council, and then I have something to say? Yeah. Alderman Fisk.
I recommend we recommend we decline to hear the appeal.
Decline the hearing, all right. Alderman, no, I'm not going to second that
Okay.
either. All right, could I have another motion?
I would recommend to set it, that we would hear the appeal.
Okay, all right, I would second that. I received communication from Alderman Grover today. This is in her ward. In fact, I think her house is right behind it or something. And she supports the Zoning Board of Appeal, or the Sign Review's decision. And but she did not mention whether or not she supported the appeal or not. What I would like to say about this is whether you support the sign board's decision or not, it would seem that we bend over backwards giving people opportunities to appeal and speak to us. And I can't see where hearing somebody has anything to do with how you feel about the sign. So.
And I had to drive up there to see it because to look at it and try to visualize it. And especially on Green Bay Road. I mean, it's Green Bay Road and then
people from the train.
From the other side. So I definitely want to hear the appeal.
All right, so Alderman Fisk.
Was there anyone signed up to
Could
speak
you
to this tonight?
No.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, my mic wasn't on.
I did not sign up. Oh, well.
Do you want to speak about this? We'll be glad to have you speak. Or if you want, you can wait and speak at the council. But when you finish speaking, would you sign up so we have your name and address?
Yeah, there's a mic right over
Either
here.
there or here. Just tell us your name and address.
My name is James Koch, K-O-C-H, and I do represent Office Depot. I would merely ask, I'm not here to discuss the merits, that you give my client an opportunity to appear at a hearing and make a presentation, and should you have any questions, presented. And then should you affirm the denial, so be it, and if you overturn it, so be it. But we would ask, as a business member who creates jobs in business, that you just give us that opportunity, nothing else.
Okay. All right. Okay, here, do you want to sign this up? Okay, and so one of the things, I guess, our staff, Mr. Griffin, you want us to do is set the date? Okay.
That's your other option, too.
Alderman Holmes, could you make a motion for September 26th? That's what we'll recommend to the council. I don't know how the council's going to vote on this, but coming out of here, we need a recommendation.
Okay, I would move that we set September 26th as a date for the hearing of the appeal for the decision of the Sign Review and Appeals Board denying the wall sign request by Office Depot.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Griffin, I've never been here when something like this happened. So how does this work? During our regular P&D meeting, we would have the appeal?
Correct.
Yeah.
And then
We would report out, we would vote on it and then report to the council?
yes. As I understand it, they don't consider the date. It's you that sets the
No,
date.
we'll set the date, but
Okay.
I don't know how to do the appeal. Mr. Helen is going to explain it to it.
So
we're the,
the P&D committee is the final decision.
too bad
on
you're
the
not
26th.
coming tonight because 2-1. All right. So on Monday night, September 26th, that is when we will hear an appeal. I've been on this council over 20 years. I've never done this before. This is a first.
It's a first for me, too.
I know. So anyway, that's very interesting. All right. All those in favor of recommending this all to the council, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Any items for discussion? Oh, I'm
A nay?
Did you vote no?
Yes, I
Oh, you didn't vote.
2 to 1.
Yeah, right.
All right. Mr. Griffin, any items for discussion that aren't listed here?
No,
Any
there's no items
communications?
tonight.
No, no, no. All right. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.